Hey guys, it's Robin and welcome back to the Science of Self-Care. So this past week I had some nice conversations with you guys in the comments, and this actually made me think of something that I wanted to quickly make a video on. But before I do, I wanted to say thank you all so much for those of you who commented on my last video. It really helps feed the algorithm and promote my content so more people can discover it. So thank you, thank you. But moreover, I love to hear what you guys are interested in, what's going on in your life, what you're working on in terms of health and self-care. And some of the conversations and comments I was reading really reminded me of my favorite concept in one of my favorite books, Atomic Habits by James Clear. I know I've mentioned this book so many times, but I highly recommend reading it or rereading it if you haven't already. In this book, he talks about the importance of standardizing a habit before you optimize a habit. So standardizing a habit before you optimize a habit. Let me pull up the exact quote here just so we are all on the same page. Okay, a habit must be established before it can be improved. If you can't learn the basic skill of showing up, then you have little hope of mastering the finer details. Instead of trying to engineer a perfect habit from the start, do the easy thing on a more consistent basis. You have to standardize before you can optimize. I love this so much because it really eloquently gets to the core of how powerful baby steps are when you are trying to build lifelong, sustainable, healthy habits. And I think we still have this societal focus on a kind of big push towards becoming healthy, the New Year's resolution, and it's really a challenge and it's all about pushing and challenging yourself, when in reality, if we want to build habits that stick around for decades, starting with the tiniest step and doing that consistency is the most powerful way to do that. So in the book, he gives the example of coaching someone, a man who wanted to start to work out regularly but didn't currently go to the gym and didn't even like working out. So James said, for the first several weeks, you're just gonna drive to the gym every morning and drive straight back. Drive to the gym, straight back. That is your routine. So he did this for several weeks. Once that became effortless and completely integrated into his routine, then he moved on to stepping out of his car and standing in front of the gym. And once that was consistently part of his routine, the man worked on stepping into the gym for 1 minute. And once that was consistent, he spent 2 minutes in the gym, and then 5 minutes, and then 10. And obviously this process took many months to even get to 10 minutes in the gym. But the point is that he built such a strong foundation for this habit that it's going to stick around potentially for the rest of his life. And as far as I can tell, there are 3 great reasons why this works. Firstly, when you prioritize consistency of a baby step, you are carving out a specific time of your day devoted to the adoption of that habit. Even if you start with just 1 minute, 1 minute you're gonna do something every single day before dinner. That means that is part of your regular routine now, and that 1 minute plants the seed for a habit that maybe one day will be 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 20 minutes or even an hour. But that seed needs to be planted for it to really be an unshakable foundation of a habit in your day. Secondly, baby steps can completely eliminate resistance. So obviously if someone doesn't like working out, then the thought of going to the gym and doing a workout sounds completely daunting, and there's so much physical and mental resistance to that thought. But the thought of driving to the gym and driving back, it doesn't have that much resistance. Or in my case, when I wanted to get back into Pilates, the thought of rolling out my mat and then rolling it back up and not even doing any Pilates has zero resistance associated to it. So that's how I got back into Pilates. Now I love Pilates again, but for a while I was just rolling out my mat, rolling it back up, and making sure I did that every single day before dinner. The third reason why baby steps really work is that the consistency creates an identification with that habit. You become the type of person who does that on a regular basis. So for me, even just rolling out the Pilates mat, I start to identify as someone who does Pilates because I'm touching my mat, I'm engaging in that every day, and it makes it a lot easier to continue to grow that habit when I myself identify as someone who does that. And when you really identify with a habit, all the forces in your life in tandem sort of start to work to get you to do that more and more, because We are beings who don't like cognitive dissonance, so if something doesn't really match our self-identity, we will avoid it. And if something does match our self-identity, we will move towards it. So those are 3 reasons I think standardization before optimization really works. I also wanted to share that even before Atomic Habits came out, BJ Fogg, a researcher at I believe Stanford, has been studying the architecture of habits for a long time, and there's a specific habit he calls the most easily adopted habit of all, and I think he calls it the Maui habit because he learned about it from a woman who lives in Maui. But essentially what it is right when you wake up, when you put your feet on the ground as you're getting out of bed, you say, "It's gonna be a good day." That's all. It's gonna be a good day, right when you put your feet on the ground. And what he found is that this simple little habit was universally very easily adopted by people. They did it once, and then they did it twice, and then they did it day in and day out. And as you know, some habits are really hard to adopt. Well, this one, it turns out, for most people is super duper easy to adopt. And so we started to think about why this might be, and he came up with a number of reasons. Firstly, there's a clear time in your day when you're supposed to do it. It's when you wake up and put your feet on the ground, so there's a clear prompt and moment. Secondly, it's short and simple. All you say is, "It's gonna be a good day," and then it's done. You've completed it. So that makes it easy to adopt. And lastly, it feels good. There's no resistance, it's a positive experience, it's uplifting, so we wanna do it again the next day. And if we think about these 3 points that make this habit so easily adoptable, a lot of them overlap with what makes a baby step so powerful. Baby steps are short and simple, they lower resistance, so there's no negative feelings around the activity, and they also force us to carve out a moment in the day when we're gonna do the baby step. So really the point of this video is just to debunk the idea that you have to do some overwhelming lifestyle overhaul if you want to develop healthy habits, and that actually using baby steps is the more sustainable way to change your life. So I challenge you to currently think of some habit that you want to adopt and boil it down to its most basic level. What can you do in 1 minute? What can you even do in 30 seconds? How can you show up without having to do too much? So once you have an idea of how you can boil that habit down to its most basic level, the next step is to figure out when in your day you're gonna do it. Are you gonna do it first thing in the morning? Are you gonna do it before lunch? Are you gonna do it after dinner? Once you have the time, you can make sure that every single day, for weeks maybe even, you just are committing those 30 seconds or 1 minute to that tiny little baby step so you can plant the seed for the greater habit that will come more effortlessly down the line. That was my video today, inspired by your comments. Thank you all again so much for the engagement. I love that this is really starting to feel like a community, science of self-care. It's what I love to talk about. So if you have any other content suggestions or questions, comment below. I answer every single comment and I love just speaking with you guys. So thanks for watching and I look forward to seeing you next time.